If you're thinking about joining the Marines, you came to the right damn place. By the way, this is not coming from someone who is active duty or someone who is a recruiter. I am not. I am a veteran, so this is going to be as raw as it gets. We're not going to be putting no freaking condom on, no morning after pill, no EUD or whatever the fuck girls put in their arms so they don't have babies. We're going in raw, all right? So stay tuned, and I think you're going to get some valuable information. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about are the cons. Why? Because if we talk about the pros, this is probably not what you want to hear first. This is going to gain your attention, so hopefully you stick around with this. All right, number one, if you got something going on in your life, you're putting it on hold. Let's say a father just had a newborn or a mother just had a newborn. It may not be ideal to do something like that. Let's say someone has a really, really good paying job. 9 times out of 10, you're going to be getting a huge pay decrease. Unless you are going to go officer route, which is entirely different from enlisted, because enlisted, you're like, bro, you're collecting like dimes and pennies. And this just kind of depends on multiple like different factors, but for the most part, if you're going enlisted, the pay is probably not like what you think it's going to be, depending, again, multiple factors. So you're putting your life on hold, man. So that's something to consider. Number two, you're going to be away from family and friends. And this is all dependent with, the kind of person you are. If family means a lot to you, maybe this is not ideal for you. And especially if something is going on. Like if you're taking care of a sick family member, now's probably not the time to go. And shit happens, right? Like family is so important. But this all just kind of varies on the type of person, right? And some people may value their friends as well. And if you did go, this is not just the Marine Corps, if you did go to the military, there is no like sure guarantee that you are going to be able to be home around May next year or whatever like projected time that you want to be there. Stuff happens. Let's say your unit needs an individual augment for, and this, what that terminology means is like they are seeking one person for something. Let's say they need someone to go to fucking some third world country that is in like a combat zone, and you so happen to have the specific job that they need, and they pick you. It's probably gonna be hard for you to go if something does happen back home. And like I said, there's no guarantee. You may not be able to see your family for a year. It just kind of depends. You can always go home on leave, but again, you really don't ever know. It's kind of a gamble that you have to take. Number three, you're going to be missing some events. This kind of ties into the previous one. The military, the Marine Corps, they will usually always make a consideration. Not a consideration, they will send you home if something happens. But the thing, it has to be immediate family. So your mother, your father, your brother, your sister. Immediate family, 9 times out of 10, you will be able to go if something happens. But outside of that, it's going to be a little harder. There's so many people who are in the military that miss the birth of their child. It's happened. It's happened hundreds and thousands of times. So just know too, these are key things that that may be valuable to you. You may be giving that up, and people will join and they will have this hatred towards the military because, oh, the Marine Corps fucked me. They didn't let me go home during this when this was happening, blah, blah. But that's the gamble that you decided to take, right? So just know, if you do decide to join, you are taking that gamble. Number 4, bad leadership and morale. Fuck, man. This should have been honestly number 1. But I'm going to go off on somewhat of a little tangent. But just know that it's usually never a certain way, right? There's usually always some sort of like deviation. It's never usually always black or white. There's usually always some gray in it. People will go to a unit and they will have the best fucking Marine Corps experience and they will stay in for 20, or they will have the best Marine Corps experience and they will stay in for 4 and then get out. And then there's people who join and they fucking hate their life. And they get out and it leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. And it really, really boils down to leadership and morale. Man, again, like the Marine Corps is like someone notorious for like dumb shit, literally. And you'll see it. You'll see it. And I think that Marine Corps boot camp does a good job at, like getting you ready for like bullshit, because it's a lot of games in boot camp. But just know that when you actually like get to your unit, a lot of this stuff doesn't just apply to military. It applies to a lot in like the civilian sector. So bad leadership, you're not always going to see it in the military or like in the civilian sector. It all just kind of depends, right? Again, it's never usually always black or white. There's always some gray in it. But back to the bad leadership, man. You will have some bad leadership. I guarantee it. It's bound to happen, and it happens for multiple reasons. One of the biggest things that I saw while I was in was someone getting promoted, and they made everyone else's lives suck. Why? Because the things that were done to them while they were a lower grade, they adopted that, and they can't think for themselves. They're like, oh, well, and their justification for doing certain things is, well, it was done to me, so why can't it be done to them? They're soft or whatever. And that's not all right. Times change, and people will be stuck in that. They will try to justify their actions. So you have people who, treat people like shit because it was done to them, and they can't think for themselves, and they do it to other people. Number two, maybe you have someone who got promoted, and because they're bullied while they were a kid or throughout high school or whatever it may be, now when they see the opportunity to be able to do so in the slightest way, they'll fucking do it, man. But again, like, bad leadership doesn't just exist in the Marine Corps or the military. It also exists out in the corporate world, out in the civilian world, wherever you're at. But man, it all just depends where you're at. My first unit in specific, wow, that was a great unit. Like, my leadership, fucking awesome. They fucking rocked. My peers, awesome. It was just fun. It was great. When I got to my other unit, total opposite, man. Total opposite. You'll go to places where they will do the absolute best to reward you. Like, they will fucking stick their neck out for you, and they will recognize the Marines, award them. They'll send them to courses. They will do certain things. They'll let them go to certain places, and they will make, certain considerations or accommodations. And then on the other hand, you go to some places where they will do everything in their will to make Marines' lives suck. And morale would just be fucking tanked. It'll just be fucking gone. Why that happens? Probably a few of the reasons that I mentioned in the beginning before this. Just know that the shit you go through, man, it also gets you ready when you get out. Because as a veteran now, when stupid shit happens, I'm like kind of unfazed. Like, yeah, it's a little different, but I'm almost unfazed because I felt like I had so much experiences to where I'm able to recognize, like, this is not all that serious. So, yeah, that's it for the cons. And I could make this shit whole. This shit could fucking go all the way down to the floor, wrap around to that side of the wall, around the ceiling, and do like fucking, just rotate 365 times 365 times. So, but there's a lot of pros too. There's a lot of pros too. So, number one, on the pro side, you buy yourself time. This is so important, especially if you are being a leech to your family. Do you think your family wants someone who's just sitting their ass at home, they don't got a job, fucking eating food, not paying rent, being a slum? You think they want this shit? I bet you. They're like, dude, I want fucking Bob to get the fuck out of here. He smells, he don't shower, he fucking beats his meat all the time using the Wi-Fi. I've seen your search history. You are not what you say you are. Anyways, you buy yourself time, man. Let's say you don't have a plan. What's better? Fucking sitting down on your ass like a fat ass? Like that? Huh? Collecting Cheeto dust on your belly button? No! Right? It would be so much better if you went to the military and you chose whichever branch, and if you chose the Marine Corps, good for you, man. Good for fucking you. And we'll get to that. Why? But you buy yourself time, dude. You buy yourself time because while you're in, instead of being a couch potato and not having a plan and being stagnant, now while you're in the Marine Corps, again, not just the Marine Corps, military as a whole, you buy yourself so much time to think about shit. And that was the same case with me. My first 4 years, well, why I joined in the first place, right? I joined because I saw a lot of the news growing up, especially in middle school, and it kind of made me want to join. Senior year rolls around, I still had like that feeling that I wanted to join. And then secondly, I didn't have a plan. And going somewhere in the military was so much better than just being at home, not doing shit with my life. And then even after that first 4 years, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I was like, fuck, it's getting close. So I re-enlisted and I bought myself more time. And now my vision is clear. My vision is fucking clear as water. I know what the fuck I want to do and I'm going to get it. So you buy yourself time. Number two, you get free school, dude. You get free school. And let's do a little comparison here. Let's say you went to school with one of your homeboys and now he's at fucking Harvard or whatever, some other school, and they're out of school now. They did 4 years of their school. You did your 4 years in the military, and let's put you both out, right? This person has a degree, they're getting a job, and they have loans, but maybe they have a scholarship. You, on the other hand, you have the GI Bill. You can go to school entirely for free and get paid for it. You can get paid for it because they pay for your housing. Not only that, as a veteran, you have the VA home loan. The VA home loan is like by far the best loan that you can get. It's known. It's very, very well known. And even more so if you have disability. While we're on that topic of disability, while you're in the military, do your absolute best to go to medical. It's so, so important. And your units will fight you for it. But guess what? Give them the same pushback, because it's so important when it comes time for you to get out and you need certain documentation for the VA, and you can't get the help that you need because you don't have the documentation to support it. It's so important because everyone else eventually gets out. So make sure you go to medical when something hurts. Don't just man up and be like, oh, well, I'm fine. Especially Marines. Marines are notorious for just fucking shaking it off because of the leadership. They're not letting them go. And then two, we're all just fucking hard asses. Like, we broke a finger, we have a fracture. It'll get better. We'll just fucking ice it or just keep walking it off. It'll go away. But make it a point to go. So back to this topic that we were at before. You're out. You have the VA home loan. You have the GI Bill. You possibly have disability. This person here has school loans. They're searching for a job, and they need a house. And I'm fucking biased, man. I'm biased because right now I'm only giving you one scenario. There could be a totally other scenario where like this Marine got out and he's $50,000 in debt, but he has a GI Bill, but he's still gonna be in debt and he fucking spends money like an idiot. You'll get a lot of those. You'll see a lot of people get fucking Mustangs and Chargers and shit. Guess what? I was one of them. All right? So, hey, it fucking happens, all right? Anyways, free school. On this too, while you're in, use tuition assistance. So tuition assistance, you pretty much still go to school for free, but you're not dipping into your GI Bill. Like, this is your GI Bill right here, right? Let's say you don't fucking dip into this because you use TA, right? You still have your GI Bill right here. So when you get out, you have your bachelor's and you utilized TA. And when you get out, you still have your GI Bill. And guess what? You can go to school for your master's now. Or you can go to school for a trade. Point being is you can go to school and get your bachelor's degree using TA and not dip into your GI Bill. That is so valuable, dude. That is crazy. Unheard of. Next topic. So, number 3, lifelong friends. Damn. This is crazy. And I'm going to bring up another point right now just real quick. So, I saw this on a video, and the guy was talking about friendships. So, he was saying how the friends that you have right now, you only have them because it's convenient. And it may sound like an asshole kind of thing to say at first, but if you really think about it, your immediate circle that you have right now, you only have it because it's convenient. Because you're at that specific time, at that point in place. So the relationships you have right now, let's say you move to another state. Now you're going to have that same shit you had here over there. And whether you keep in touch with these people, like it's kind of irrelevant. Like you end up moving and it keeps on happening. So I wouldn't be too caught up in like this part either with the family and friends, because you're only there because that's all you know and that's all you're around, right? Like now you go somewhere else. Now you get a lot of this. You meet hundreds of people. Whether you just stay at home or like, whatever, man, I'm not gonna get on that. So lifelong friends, right? And why I said lifelong is because it's different. It's totally different from another like friendship. These are the people that you train with to possibly die together, to put yourself on the line for that person next to you, and vice versa. And I don't really know another friendship that you can get something like this besides like some sort of team building sport. But that's a little different because you're not really dying in sports. And this, you are possibly dying. And it's so cool because everyone eventually gets out, right? Like, let's say years down the road, you get out and you see someone that you knew from boot camp like fucking 10, 15 years ago. You don't remember their name, but you're like, yo, aren't you the guy that got caught beating his meat on the rack by the drill instructor? That didn't happen to me. No, I didn't. I was fucking around, just an example. But like, let's say homeboy didn't recognize his name, but like he recognized that scenario and he matched the face with it. But like, dude, like friendships like that are so valuable, dude. All right, last topic. So we're gonna close this video off with a little motivation. So why did you decide to join the Marine Corps? Because you probably heard it was the best branch. And it doesn't come easy. It has the hardest boot camp when you compare it to Navy, Army, Coast Guard, Air Force. Like, the training is harder, it's longer, you go through much bullshit. Also, dude, when you earn the title of a Marine, let's look at it in two different scenarios. We're gonna make a little analogy here. Let's say on a good side, you're driving on the expressway and a family of 5 gets in a fucking car crash, and you get off the car and you save their life. The next heading that you'll see on CNN is gonna be U.S. Marine saves a family of 5. And your name is somewhat irrelevant to the title, because the title of a U.S. Marine means more than your name. It really does. So when you compare it on the bad side to U.S. Marine crashes in a DUI and kills family of 5. Like, these are the things that people don't really think about it when they have the title of a Marine. Headlines and news stories and people like that, like, they know how to grab people's attention. And having the title of a Marine is not something to take lightly. Just being called Marine, it sounds fucking badass. And they will always say too, you will always hear it. Once you have it, there is no former Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. And you can't think about that when it comes to being a soldier. You can't think about that when it comes to being an airman or in the Navy. Like, it's not really comparable. No hate on the other branches, right? I'm just talking specifically about the Marine Corps. So the title of a Marine means so much. It really, really, truly does. So I hope with this information that I told you guys, it helped you make a better decision on whether you want to join or not. And I do not take just my word for it. Ask your friends, ask your family, ask other people who have joined or who are in training, those who are out already. Those are going to be key people that you need to gain insight from. And I'm going to be honest here, I probably wouldn't get that from a recruiter. And I'm not saying that because recruiters are like bad, right? Recruiters are good. And if anything, you should be asking them more questions than what you think. But in this aspect, I'm talking about like the lives of people who already who are out. They're going to give you more of the truth. People who are recruiters, they're kind of trying to sell you. I'm not saying to be a dick. Another misconception people have about recruiters is that recruiters get paid for every person that they send to boot camp, and it's not fucking true. It's not. They do have quotas. They have to meet a certain requirement by the end of the month or whatever, but they're not financially compensated for it the way you think. It doesn't work like that. I hope this video really did help you make a decision. If you guys have any other questions, please just leave them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get through with them all. I'm a really small channel right now, so I will get to it. And leave some suggestions for like other topics you guys want to see. It's not just always going to be talks like this. I'm going to be bringing on people who are in, who are out, people who have businesses, stuff like that. So this is not just going to be kind of like a one area of military. It's going to be like multiple different aspects. So I hope this was valuable to you, and I really, really, really hope that you could come to a decision. Thank you for watching. Take care.